Is it on? Streaming on? Yeah, I think the sisters are trying to come in. Just somebody need to. And do you have the wireless microphone by any chance?
No, unfortunately.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll manage. Actually, I can use this as well, right? Yeah, because that's good.
Like that one, you need to put it really close.
I'll just check. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, good. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Jazakallahu khair for making time on Sunday especially. So I think we'll get started actually. We are anyway 10 past 4 and I learned that Asr is 6 o'clock. So initially the plan was to do it 4 to 6. So now I need to move a little bit faster. Okay. So, Bismillah. My name is Maqbul Khan and I come from Bay Area, alhamdulillah. And this is just a high level on my journey. So, been into the industry for about 20 years. I know people might be surprised when I say that. But I started my career back in 2005. And I started as an engineer in one of the small company in United Kingdom, London, as a network engineer. And then continued to found my own first startup, Hums Technologies. That was my first startup in UK, London. And then from there, by the way, that was in telecom industry again. And 2011, by the time I was in India, 2011, I pivoted because the telecom industry had massive shift. iPhone came and technology shift, everything came in. I pivoted into the software development consulting company. So that was the Reform Infotech. And that was in India. I come from Gujarat, Ahmedabad originally. 2015 is when I reached to a point where I'm like, okay, let's wrap it up. Let's move on. Let's move out of the country. But then that's when I was very much involved into a lot of conferences and everything. And there was this startup, 2015, the startup called Minjar from Bangalore. They called me up and was like, Maqbul, why don't you join us? I said, fine. Let me try that up. I joined them. 3 years later, we got acquired by Nutanix. Alhamdulillah. And moved to Bay Area. I was at Nutanix in my last role. I was serving as director of engineering. I had about 40 people team reporting under me, 2 products engineering under my belt, alhamdulillah. And last year I wrapped up that chapter. And I'm like, okay, what next for me? I have 2 kids, my wife, 4 of us here, alhamdulillah. So my wife was like, oh, we are in US, it's unlike India, so why don't you go and get another job? I said, okay, but I think I should do another startup. And in between, I said, let me go and try looking around for the jobs. I started that journey, and that was very different, quite a lot of struggle. And as pretty much every majority of the professionals go through that, it was like, all right, how do I get started with the resume? How do I start searching the job? Me being in the Bay Area, 20 years in the industry, people say, oh, you know what, at our level, it doesn't work like that. You have to go through the reference, network and everything. I'm like, okay, how do I get started? I'm in US, very small network here in US. So that was my experience. But before I get started, I would like to just get a sense of, what does it mean for you guys? And at the same time, I would like to also understand, before we dive further in, what brought you guys here. So maybe let's do a QR code scan. And if you guys can try and put your thoughts as to what brought you guys here. I hope the QR code scan is working.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Getting some good, interesting inputs. Laid off latest ways of searching in the current market makes sense. Laid off again, struggling with the job search makes sense. Trying to find a job, looking to break into the tech market. Okay, interesting. Have had good skills, but turning out the job breakthrough is tough. And what's attractive to the employers in the AI recently graduated? Interesting. All right, I think the good part is pretty much familiar, nothing surprising. So I guess these are the common challenges even I was going through and I was experiencing as I started off my journey with the job search, especially now you have seen that in 20 years, I didn't really went out to do the job search. Even in 2015, actually, it was, this company called me up and I joined them. So for me to get into really getting started with the resume, going and searching the job, it was a complete new experience, especially last year in the Bay Area. And that's when I'm like, okay, let me go and start with some career coach. I spent thousands of dollars, by the way. This is not just 1,000, 2,000, but quite a lot, significant money I spent on that. It turned out that I didn't find much meaningful ways to get my ways going. And that was frustrating, that even after spending thousands of dollars, it's not working out. And I continue to explore my own ways because I'm more like, streamlining, building the right framework, processing everything. I continue to work on that. And that's when Ramadan was the month one of my friends got laid off. While I was doing my own search and everything, during Ramadan, one of my friends got laid off. 25 years of experience in the industry, family of 4, but H-1B, right? Visa concerns, right? 60 days countdown. And I told him that, look, you're not going to do anything other than what I'm going to tell you. And for him, I sat down, I created a complete process document, and next day morning, I walked him through. Alhamdulillah, he continued to follow that, and in about 50 days, he was able to secure the jobs. It was from the grace of Allah. The other means of it, the references, networks, and everything, quite a lot goes into that, and I'm going to talk about all of that, but it just worked out. And that's when I started, because I've been looking like, I have to solve my own problem, but that's when I was like, okay, no, it's not just my problem, because when I look around, everybody is struggling through this. Everybody is struggling through this. So I'm like, okay, let me take a different approach, and let me go and start helping the people. I started off doing these sessions at IKIC, ICF. 2 weeks back, I did the session at MCA. Alhamdulillah, in about this couple of months, I have been able to meet about more than 100 professionals. I have actually put together a complete program of about 8 hours. I coached them, about 20 people plus went through that. Alhamdulillah, many of them got the job. But I think that's when I actually started intentful work. And this has been the journey going on. That's my another startup. And the idea around that is to really help people, the professionals, with meaningful work, being very intentful, because in this time, the AI is making a lot of noise. Everybody is trying to use AI. On the other side, if you look at the situations, the hiring managers are actually struggling. Every single resume which is coming to the hiring manager, it's 100% match. How do they find the right talent? That's another problem. But on the professional side, on our side, job seeker side, our problem is how do we land the job? And that's when the whole framework which I created, I'm going to walk you guys through with that. But before that, let's take a look at what does typical job search process look like. And I'm sure that you guys must have gone through that, but I think I'll just give you a sense. Along with that, I also discovered this entire industry and different ways companies and consultants provide different services. I'm not sponsoring anyone here, but this was my own research and learning as to how things work in this whole industry. Starting with the resume building itself, if you look at, it starts off with anywhere from $500 to $1,000, $1,500 for just the resume building. It was very surprising to me. There are companies actually, they offer like $200, and people go. And I was talking to one of my ex-colleagues at Nutanix, director of engineering, another one, and I'm like, okay, tell me one thing. Tomorrow, if you are, I hope that you will not get laid off, because I was part of doing my research actually, as I'm building the product as well as part of this startup. I'm like, what would you do? What would be your first step? So he was like, oh, you know what? The most important thing for me is to go and sit in front of the decision maker. I said, that's right. That's what I used to think. But it doesn't work like that. Have you thought about your achievements? Have you thought about your resume? It's like, oh, you know what? I think it's going to be upward of $1,000. I'm going to pay that. Maybe I'll find somebody on LinkedIn, and I'll just get it done. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. Yes, you can get that done, but the entire process, there are so many roadblocks. The second one is the job search. I'm seeing that there are a lot of companies, they help people, they work for them and they find the job. They apply on behalf of them. There are other companies which are like career coaches, like I paid upward of $5,000 on that. These companies range starting from $5,000 to $12,000 or even more actually. One of the, I have seen so many cases. I was talking to, actually one of the professionals reached out to me a few weeks back. That individual was the founder of another company, and he met me for one-on-one coaching, and he was like, all right, I'm planning to get into the industry back again. I'm not going through why he was planning to get into the market and everything, but I think the most important question I asked him is like, okay, your resume, fine, all of this. I gave him a lot of advice. I asked him, how have you been applying? Because he has been applying and it was not working. I was like, how have you been applying? And he was like, I have hired an agency. I said, fine, how much are you paying them? And he was like, I'm paying $1 per application. I was shocked. I'm like, what's going on? I don't know what on the other side the hiring managers are going through. Right? $1 per application. Different companies, one new college grad, he gave me his story, $13,000 to an agency. There were like 10 students coming out of the college. They negotiated $9,000. I said, how many applications? I don't know. He said, hundreds of, probably thousands of applications. It just doesn't make sense. It is not working the way we think. The most fundamental aspect professionals are missing is looking in themselves. That's the most important thing. Moving on, the next step, once people apply for the jobs, the next one is actually tailoring the resume. Actually, as part of the tailoring the resume, these agencies help. And then applying for the jobs. Interview prep is what the next one comes up. And again, there you have so many tools and softwares and applications. They start anywhere from $200. You can, if you're in the tech industry, you can use those tools and apply, prepare for that. But again, that ranges. There are companies who come and offer, one-on-one training, group coaching, and that ranges that goes up to $10,000. And then finally, the offer negotiation. It's a pretty wide industry, and I think the moment people get the offer letter, that's when they take a deep breath. But until then, it's pretty crazy, and I've seen people just continue to spend money because the end goal is, hey, I just need to get the job. Let's see how is it going to work out. The two major roadblocks in the job search, no matter what people do, with whatever approaches they go, whatever services they go through, the two major roadblocks is getting the recruiter call, and if you get past that, getting the offer. These are the two major roadblocks I have seen. So, how do you get over those? It is what I created called intentful work process. This is what I would highly encourage, and I'm going to share with you guys how exactly, what are the steps, but this is what exactly goes into that. The whole idea behind this is, look, it's pretty extensive. I cannot share pretty much everything because it requires a lot of time. We are on a tight time constraint. But my intention here is when you go out, the key takeaways is, I want you guys to be 100% confident that this is exactly the sequencing you guys should be following. And these are the steps you guys should be following. Obviously, this will not solve all of your problems, but if you are taking care of this, you should be fine on track. All right? And this is, I have personally tested it out on myself, and many professionals have been able to get the job. And this is the 7-step method which I have built. The first one is building your stories. This is the most fundamental step, the most tedious step. The second one is crafting the resume. Third one is enhancing your LinkedIn profile. Fourth one is leveraging the network as part of your job search. Fifth is identifying the right opportunity, tailoring the resume, and then applying with intentful work strategy. Now, I personally have gone through so many different approaches. Like I said, I've hired, I paid money to the coaches as well. My study says that the typical conversion rate, and it is important that everybody understand this, people tend to apply online and do whatever it is. The typical conversion rate ranges from 2% to 4%. For example, if you have applied to 400 jobs, you will probably get about 8 to 16 recruiters' calls. What does that mean? You keep applying online. You keep applying online. I was coaching one of the professionals from Texas, and the gentleman told me about 20 years of experience. He applied 320 jobs. He got 12 recruiter calls. I said, what's your process? How are you applying? And he's like, I'm applying all online. I said, okay, that's about 4%, less than 4% conversion rate. The one which I've created, I'm going to share with, I have seen the conversion rate has gone significantly up. And like I said, I'm in a learning phase. I'm always open to learn. Anything that you find, I'm always open to learn. But I have seen that it can help you get to 20% of conversion. What that means is if you are applying 40 jobs, hopefully, inshallah, you will be able to get about 8 recruiter calls, interviews, the full loop. This is what the goal is. So let's dive into that. The first step is preparing the stories, right? What the stories are. The stories are your building blocks, the smallest unit of your work, your achievements. The stories are typically structured in STAR format. That stands for situation, task, action, and results. I was actually, because I'm also building the product as part of this, I'm talking to a lot of professionals, a lot of individuals, and asking, what does it mean for you, the story? Tell me one achievement. Give me an example of achievement. Let's say, take 2 minutes and tell me your achievement. Before I get into that, I don't know, anybody want to take a chance of, sharing one achievement? If not, that's fine. But if anybody wants to take a chance, it'll be very interactive. You guys will learn quite a lot. But let's say you go in the interview, right? And they ask you some situational story. Tell me about what have you done in your past job, right? So typically we start with, oh, you know what, I did this and that as part of that initiative, and I developed and built all of that, so that's basically your achievement. So anybody wants to take a chance?
Yeah, see, like when I was working in my workplace, so they are facing some challenges with new things. So I take the initiative and I did some R&D work kind of. I have my own deliverables. On side, I did some like how to support multi-language in a React application or something. So there are some libraries basically. Lots of nowadays in Git you will go thousands. So you have to choose one optimal one. So that kind of things I did it and I suggested that it was accepted. So
Mashallah, that's very good. And I can totally relate that because I was responsible for this, for the two products. We have done this kind of migrations and enhancement. So completely I can relate that. Would you be open for the feedback? I can dive deeper into this, double click what is good, what is bad. Okay, that's good. Alhamdulillah, that's great. The reality is, and I have been into the same situation, I was also thinking exactly like this. For example, I can share one achievement. That is, I used to lead a 40 people team, and as part of that, I was responsible for cost governance product, which is a hybrid multi-cloud product, and I took that product from a single cloud to making it a multi-cloud cost governance product, and that helped so many customers. We had to migrate the ingestion pipeline from legacy pipeline because it was unstable, it was not supporting multiple clouds. I'm just summarizing all of that. And we were able to significantly optimize that ingestion pipeline so that all the cloud's data could be ingested and all of that. I felt like that's a significant achievement, but unfortunately that's not true. These are nothing but just tasks we are responsible for as part of the job. These are not achievements. Yes, we do learn. We learn quite a lot of things as part of that, but these are not achievements. The achievements are basically what is the end result. And the end result is what matters to the business. Now, the result could be in many different aspects. For example, direct impact or direct benefit to the customer, or direct growth in the revenue for the company or for the business, or direct benefit to the team in terms of the efficiency, right? So those are the achievements, and those are the quantifiable achievements which are really, really needed. Unfortunately, majority of us professionals, we think that when we do something meaningful, we feel so happy about it, we feel instant gratification, and we feel that we deserve the recognition for that. But that's not how the achievements work. That's the real truth. The bigger issue is it's a culture. It's a culture within the organization. I went through the same thing until I figured it. The leadership never think, or probably sometimes, leadership never ask you that, okay, this is what is needed, but this, at the end of this is going to be the result. Or people don't even ask the question that, okay, I'm going to do this enhancement in the product, in the engineering, I'm going to migrate from one technology to another technology, but what is the end result? Why are we doing that? Is it a customer benefit? Is it an efficiency? Is it that people, the engineers, and everybody will be move faster? The releases will be very fast? We don't ask. That's the result. And that is what is really needed as part of building your story. So typically, the situation is when you start any initiative in the organization, or even for the college grads, when they pick up a project, why are they picking up that project? What is the problem are you trying to solve? You need to go really deep into that to understand what is the problem are you trying to solve. The second one is the task. That is your responsibility. A lot of time professionals tend to say, oh, I did this and that, or my team did this and that. Actually, the problem is what you did. What was your responsibility? You want to get to really that point. No matter what your role is, be it leadership or whatever it is, what your responsibility was, and then break it down into what different tasks you did. The brother gave an example, did the research on different frameworks and different libraries and everything. That's the task. That was the effort. How long you took time to do that? What was the overall initiative effort that is needed? If you do like probably 1 week, you are done, that's fine. That's a small thing. That's not an achievement. You might feel that, oh, I did this. I deserve the recognition. But that doesn't really mean to anything to business. I'll give you another example. So when I was at Nutanix, my SVP called me, and he asked me, Makbul, we have a QBR, that's quarterly business review, with the CEO. Can you give me the outcomes of the last 2 quarters? And I was, just started, letting him know all the initiatives we did. I said, we migrated to Kubernetes, and we, did this cloud edition and all of that. And it's like, after a few minutes, he was like, how does it matter to the CEO? And I was clueless. Like, it doesn't really matter to him. He wants to see how did it benefit to the company? How did it benefit to the customer? Or was it an internal team impact? And then I had to step back. And I said, I'll get back to you. But that's how actually really works. That is the achievement. That is the result. And to get started, very practical advice, which I want you guys to take away from here. As you start your journey of the job search, or many of you are already part of it, this is a tough one, I'm going to tell you. Go back to the drawing board. And step number 1, create a simple Google Doc or Word doc or whatever it is. List down all of your companies, and then start putting all your brain dump into that in the bullet points. That's the basic starting point. Just put down all the bullet points in that Google Doc, what you have done. Nothing more than that. But try to do the brain dump into that plain Google Doc. That's the first step. And if you think that you have got to a good point, a lot of time we cannot recall everything in one go. That's fine. But as soon as you get something that, oh, I achieved this, I did that, go back to your Google Doc and immediately write down the raw thought. The next step, what you want to do is, you pick one achievement or your thought, and then start breaking it down into the story format, the star format. Very, very much required. Why it is needed? The stories will help you tailor the resume. The stories will help you prepare for your interviews. If you don't have that, you are back to the square. And this is where the problem is. This is where the majority of the problem happens. Even take an example of if you got somebody else do the resume for you, and now you have to tailor the resume for the specific job. Because you have not done the groundwork, you don't know your stories, you don't know your achievements, how are you going to tailor the resume? You cannot. And even the resume is done by somebody else. And the current time is very tough, let's be honest. I don't want to give a rosy picture here, but the current time is really tough. No doubt, alhamdulillah, over the last 2-3 months, I'm seeing that number of opportunities have increased relatively, but there is huge pool out there of professionals. So let's do the groundwork. Let's discover yourself, who you are, what are your achievements, what are your capabilities, what are your skills. Know that and be prepared for that. Let's move on to the next one. Now, you all have the paper there with you, and I want to ask this question. When you think about your work achievements, you can easily recall 5+ examples of measurable achievements or results, or remember some good projects but struggle with specifics, or realize most of what I did was just a task, not real achievements. I've already given the example of achievement. Or you don't know how to articulate in this star format. Go ahead, please. Just circle your choice in the paper I have given all of you guys, because end of this session, you will get to know where you are. So circle your choice for question 1 between A, B, and C, and D, and then we'll move on.
One is for achievements, the section 1.
Yeah, question 1 is, this is the question 1. So I have numbering there. So I'm going to be in the sequence. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask.
Is everybody able to read that properly?
Shall I?
Yeah, I guess. Otherwise, you might have to zoom in.
We're good? Shall we move on? Everybody? Yeah.
Zoom in.
I can. No, it's not.
Okay, that's fine.
Probably I need to go all the way to change the resolution. Okay, we'll move on. Let's move to the next one. Question number 2. Your approach to tracking the achievements. I maintain a regular work journal of accomplishments. I occasionally take notes of big wins. I never recorded stories, and it was the case with me as well, so it's fine. Or I don't remember all of my achievements. I've been through that as well. So let's record your choice. Question number 2. All good? Move on? All right. We are done with step 1, stories. Let's get to the step 2, resume building. And here is the example of resume. By the way, if any one of you like to have the template, feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to share that template as well. But I'm going to walk you through, guys, how the resume, the right template should be, and what do the hiring managers and recruiters look for. Sorry.
Sorry, do you take questions?
Yeah, feel free. Yeah, because we want to make sure that we get done with before the Asar Salah. So go ahead, please.
Just wanted to ask about story writing for new graduates who are in the market.
Yeah.
What can you give a couple of examples, or how should they approach writing stories when they are applying for their first job?
Yeah, very good question. And I'll take an example from my daughter. She's a high schooler, by the way, not a college grad. But even I personally was clueless as to how would the new college grads would deal with that. I think every single project professionals pick up as part of their internship, or even they themselves come up with a project, there is a problem. There is a problem. And my strong recommendation is to look into the problem. Last year, my daughter was working on some sort of a project. I forgot exactly what was that, but it was the cleaning of the waste from the sea, the plastic waste and everything. And she had been working on that. So it tells me that the problem is it is impacting the environment, right? And there is a problem to every initiative we start off. It is not just that randomly somebody picks up something. So my strong recommendation is that, and I'll tell you what, the story part, the biggest challenge is only two: the situation and the result. The rest of the two, the task and responsibilities or the actions, are easier one. So focus on why piece. Focus on why this is needed to be done. And then the task is basically, think of it like I was responsible for this. And it's pretty simple, no-brainer there. The action is, I started working with my coworkers, the fellow students. I was responsible for organizing the meetings, for example. As part of the project, I was doing the research as to what kind of tools and equipments can be used to put that into the water, and how we get sensors working and all of that. So those are the actual work, right? And then the result is tricky. And I'm still figuring out, because I've been mostly focusing with the mid to senior engineers, but result is always tricky. A lot of time, the result can't be for the professionals, or the young college grads can't be articulated in numbers, but there are possibility those can be articulated. But at the end of it, their result, they need to think as to why they started. Obviously, there was a problem, but the end result was to achieve their project with it to be submitted into the university and college. So that was the end result, right? That's how they can frame it. But that's basically the most important one, is the why. Why need to be figured out. Any questions before I start? Go ahead. Okay. All right. So let's jump into the resume. I think the resume is another one. People just overcomplicate. They try to, make it very fancy. They try to use different templates. They get into, should it be 1 pager? Should it be 5 pager? Some people have 7 pages. It's like, what do I do with the resume? Keep it very simple. I'll tell you, you'll be surprised, but you will hear some different opinions of mine. First of all, I feel that resume is dead. Resume is dead. Why? Thanks to AI. People are just playing the game. Hiring managers are struggling. Let's be honest. I talk to a lot of hiring managers every week, and they are really struggling to find the right talent. The resume is dead, thanks to AI. You can get any resume done for any job description, which will be 100% match. There are so many tools like JobScan and ATS, Optimizer. People go chase that goal rather than focusing on rediscovering themselves as to who they are, rather than focusing on their skills. They chase the goal to get the ATS optimization done. They try to get every single skill which is mentioned in the job description into their resume. One of the professionals was talking to me, and his situation was, brother, I'm trying to get my resume 100% perfect, but I'm not able to move past the recruiter's calls. I've got only 4 hiring managers' calls. I don't know what's going on, what's wrong. After digging deeper into that, what I figured out is the gentleman was trying to get 100% match to the resume. And when he goes in front of the hiring manager has a thought about what the kind of candidate he is looking for and what is there in the job description. But the person, when is presenting himself or herself, it does not match. It does not align. It's a straight no. It's a straight no. It doesn't work like that. The other situation where people get into, if they get past the hiring manager and the full loop, the professional would come to me and they say, what I mentioned about this skills and that skill, do you think they will ask me? I have not done it. Why are you doing that? There is no point just creating more issues for yourself. There is no point. Be real, be honest, and that's the first step. On your resume, be very honest. be very authentic. You don't need to just make up your resume. Let's dive into that. The first one is header. That covers your name, your location, your phone number, your email address, and your LinkedIn profile. If you have projects, do that. Put those links in the resume. And if you think that there are some patents, there are some meaningful projects which are publicly visible, as you are putting that, creating the resume, you can even create the link or references. When you reference those into your resume, in your stories and achievements, you can definitely put those. I think that will create a different impact. You should always think about that. If those achievements or the projects are publicly available, they will be interested to look into that. So reference that with the link. The second one is the professional summary, your career profile. And that's typically starts with your number of years of experience, or if you are fresh out of the college, you can mention that you are fresh out of the college from this university, this college, or whatever it is. But that is the most important thing. As a hiring manager, over the years, I have hired hundreds of engineers and professionals. And I can tell you my own experience. How does the resume scanning happens as a hiring manager? And I can tell you the other side of the situation. One example, there was a time I had about 120 resumes in front of me. By the way, right now, the resume numbers are in 500 and thousands. The situation is very different. This is 120 resumes in front of me. I had to move fast. I had to hire about 3 to 4 engineers. I didn't have time. I took control of selecting the resume from the hiring manager. I said, leave it on me. Let me figure that out. And I started scanning. Now, the bigger problem with these systems, which are used by the employers, is these ATS systems or the application tracking systems. They are different systems. They are trying to make things easier for hiring managers and recruiters. They are sometimes color coding. It's like whether it is a good match, red, amber, green. Now, the problem is that itself starts conditioning the hiring manager. If you are from green to yellow or maybe red, it's gone. The hiring manager has already made up a mind. Okay, so that's the problem with the ATS system. And this is why people chase that goal. How do we get around that? I'll tell you. And then they would scan. So I would go pick up a resume and I would scan. The first thing is I know what kind of individual I want to hire, what skills I'm looking for, what experience I'm looking for. I'll start scanning for the skills. And because I come from the cloud industry, SaaS industry, B2B, I would start looking at, okay, has this guy worked on APIs? Does he have any experience on the cloud? Does he have experience on the SaaS, microservice architecture? I would look for those keywords very fast, okay, because I have to look at 120 resumes, right? And then I would try to go in deeper, a little bit deeper into, okay, there is something relevant here. What kind of achievements he has done, she has done, right? And what's the total number of years of experience the individual has? Which college, university, which company this individual has been working on? Is the company credible, right? Sometimes, I've been nice enough to give as many opportunity to the people who have not been able to work in the great companies as well. Even being in the product company, even from the services company, I used to do that, but it doesn't work with every hiring manager, right? They have certain criteria. But the reality is they have just few minutes. Probably 1 minute, 2 minutes, one scan, it's done, over. That's how it works. So simplify your resume, and in your career summary, career profile, make the point who you are. Make the point who you are. Tell them your number of years of experience, what industry you are coming from, what kind of achievement you have done. 3 to 4 lines is done. Okay. This one, I'm covering the competency as well in the second paragraph. I'm not talking about the achievements, but I'm talking about the competencies I have. All right. And then what I'm doing here is, in this one, I'm bringing up like 4 to 5 achievements, which are most relevant to the hiring manager. And that's it. I'm trying to make it easier for the hiring manager to make the decision. The rest is pretty standard. professional summary, professional experience, which company you worked for, what was the time and everything, right? So that's what it goes in. Now, when you're creating these stories, you want to make sure that these stories are quantifiable. Typically, if you are very highly experienced, what matters is the last 4 to 5 years of experience is what matters. All the rest, people don't have time to look at. That's the reality, okay? And you want to make an impact by putting at least 3 to 5 stories, 3 to 5 meaningful stories there. Now, as I mentioned, when you talk about the results, you need to put the quantifiable results. I know it is not always possible to put quantifiable results. Try to get 3 out of 5 quantifiable stories. Yeah.
Quantifiable means like what for example?
Yes. So, example is I worked on so-and-so initiative, and that helped our organization increase in the revenue by 10%. Or I worked on so-and-so initiative that helped us reduce the cost in the cloud infrastructure or in the process or in the material. Yes, that's the team efficiency, right? And a lot of time we don't measure. We don't measure, right? So you want to target 3 quantifiable stories out of 5. That's a good number. The next one is you go for your education, your skills, and certification. Now, in terms of your education, especially those who've been into the industry for many years, my recommendation is don't mention which year you completed your education. There is an ageism issue also there, so remove that. Just mention your qualification. Okay? And then go to the technical skills. Focus on the technical skills which are most relevant to the organization. One of the problems which a lot of professionals go through is they are not able to really make the decision, make the point, and they try to put all kind of skills there. I have looked at resumes which has nearly 100 skills, 70 skills. It doesn't work. What you want to look at, what you want to focus is what the hiring manager is looking for. What is not relevant, it doesn't really matter to them. So don't try to overload that. You need to think about helping them make faster decision rather than putting all your stories there. Put yourself into the hiring manager's shoes and think that if this is going to help them move fast, make the faster decision. All right? So that covers pretty much everything. Now, coming on to the number of pages. What is the ideal number of pages? For the fresh out of the college, 1 page is good. But people who've been into the industry for many years, I think 3 is the maximum number. 2 is a good sweet spot. People say, oh, it has to be 1 pager. Practically, it doesn't work. But yes, in some cases, it does work. I've helped one professional, been into the industry for 30 years, get to 1 pager. One major reason was the individual had been with the same company for many years. So it's okay. Now, in that case, it doesn't make sense that the professional goes and puts all of the stories of those 30 years or 25 years. No, just focus on the most important 5 stories. Cut it short. Help hiring managers make the faster decision. Your goal is to get into the interview. Right? So 3 pages maximum is good. 1 page best, but if you're not able to get it, don't sweat. Don't sweat on it. Don't think that, oh, I'm not able to get 1 pager. That's fine, no problem. Another thing which is coming to my mind is because a lot of people come from different countries. I think the time is difficult. Call out that if you don't require the sponsorship for work, call that out. Okay? About your residency and everything. But if you require the sponsorship, you don't need to mention that explicitly in the resume at least, because you are being asked when you are applying anyways in the form, application form, right? But the key is if you are not required to have the sponsorship for the work, mention that. That increases the chances of getting your resume picked up. Yes, please.
Where should we mention that?
Yes, so I've seen a lot of people, let's say some of the people are having citizenship, so they just mention US citizen at the top, right? It depends, because not everybody feel comfortable about that I want to disclose my identity or my status here, and it is legally not required either. All you can do is one-liner at the end, authorized to legally work in United States. Sponsorship not required. One-liner at the end, that is good enough. That way you don't disclose whether you are a citizen, you are a green card holder, whatever it is. Simplify it. Remember, because the question is also the same being asked in the application when you are applying the job. They don't ask your citizenship. They don't ask your visa and everything. And that's the key. Share what is required. Don't overshare. Okay. Yeah.
Just to be clear, the stories are within the experience, right?
Yes. So the stories, ideally the best place to go for the stories is experience in your different companies where you worked for. If you want, you can bring up like 3, like I have put here, the career highlights. I have 3 stories here. That's just like creating the impact. This is who am I? This is what I've done, right? It's not mandatory. Again, don't sweat on the resume. Keep it very simple. Okay? I was one of the professional, went through the entire training, and the professional ended up with using some enhanced CV or some tool. I don't know, I've not used it, and creating a very fancy, resume. I'm like, okay, this is very good resume, but tell me, how are you going to tailor this resume at speed? Because you have done a so fancy resume, right? How are you going to tailor this resume at speed? No answer. So you want to think about your efficiency as well, right? Because you would have to apply. Yes, please.
What do you mean by tailoring the resume?
Okay, very good question. So what does that mean? Tailoring the resume. Today, majority of the job when you are applying, you need to tailor the resume. You need to customize the resume to make it look more relevant. Now, if the individual has done so many things, not everything is applicable for the particular job. So you want to just focus and make those things visible to the hiring manager so that they can connect.
Scalable for the job.
Not scalable, but the relevance.
Relevant for the job.
Yes, what is relevant for the job, right? Because, like I have, yes, please.
Are there any tools and techniques to do that? I just want to add on now.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There are so many tools out there, but unfortunately, I'm open to hear any suggestions. I would love to get the suggestions, but I have seen a bunch of tools, including LinkedIn Premium. The problem with all of those tools is they are trying to tailor your resume to make it 100% perfect or match to the job, and I don't buy that. I don't want to look 100% matched to the job. I want to create my own real identity. And I'm going to show you guys something at the end of it. This is a product I'm building. It's still in private beta. If anybody would like to try it and be brutal to me to give me the feedback on my product, I would love to do that. But I'm going to walk you guys through what I'm building there. So, there are tools like JobRite, CareerFlow AI, JobScan, LinkedIn Premium it has some AI capabilities now. So many tools. People use ChatGPT as well. They go ChatGPT, ChatGPT Plus. The problem is these are all tools trying to make you 100% perfect match for the job description. That's not right. That's not good. Okay, so let's move on.
I've been looking for jobs. I give the job description, I give my resume, it dumps out the top for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I take the top and change it.
Yeah.
That's what I have been doing.
Yeah, that's true. That's what happens actually. And there are ways to, use AI as well, ethically, to make it more authentic. I have some ideas. I can share those as well.
LinkedIn Premium is using the same similar, like when I'm part from them, I see the comparison is the same.
Yeah, predominantly. So yeah, I mean, that's where what I'm working on is, after going through all of this, personally, this pain, and like I said, I've interacted with more than 100 professionals. I'm working on building something which really trying to solve the problem for the professionals as well as the employers. So we are on question 3. Let's move. You have the paper in front of you. Question number 3, what's your choice? Looking at your resume, it primarily contains quantified achievements with specific results, mix of responsibilities and some achievements, list of responsibilities, like I said, tasks, or I feel frustrated trying to create quantifiable achievements. We are on question 3. All good? Move on? Okay. All right. Question 4, regarding the quality of your resume. You feel confident it meets the industry standard, or unsure if it is the right template. Or you hired somebody to tailor the resume, but not happy with the results. Or the resume doesn't really reflect your actual achievements. You just did the resume, but just for the sake of doing it. We're good? Move on? All right. We're done with step number 1. Number 2, let's get into the LinkedIn branding. Let's try to get with the real challenges. LinkedIn is, what I uncovered is, a lot of people don't know. It's a good tool to brand yourself. Predominantly used, there are 2 ways to look at the job search. One is the inward leads. This is how people use in the sales. These are the terms they use in the sales. These are like, inward queries, inward opportunities. That means recruiters searches for you and they try to reach out to you. That's your inward opportunity creation. And that's where you want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is to the best of your brand, okay? And then the second one is you go and search the jobs. This is how typically work for the job search, right? And LinkedIn, setting the LinkedIn brand in a correct way, this is what is helping the inward opportunities. So that's where you want to work on. Now, it all depends on the timing. Even the pool is such a big out there. What you want to do is, you want to get the LinkedIn profile done right, but don't sweat on it. Just don't keep thinking that, why am I not getting any calls? Why the recruiters are not reaching out to me? Focus on what you control. What you don't control, just leave it. Just think, what can you do? Can you go and apply? Just do that. Here is a problem. Typical classic example I gave. My LinkedIn profile gets views, but no meaningful connections. No one is reaching out to me. 3 parts recommendation here. Headline formula. Role, helping target audience achieve specific outcome. This is what you want to focus on in your headline. So if you are um, senior staff engineer, if you are fresh out of the college, if you are, management guy, management leader, been into the industry, just mention your role, director, manager of whatever industry, customer support or engineering or product management, right? Whatever it is, helping the target audience, right? What is your target audience? Think about your customers, right? Think about your customers, what kind of problems they have. Mention that, right? And achieve specific outcome. Somebody who is an SRE, help run, or DevOps guy, help run, efficient CI/CD pipeline, scalable cloud infrastructure, right? Think of that. About section, talk about the problem, solution, and proof. Proof is needed. Just mention that. 3 paragraph, good enough. And then finally goes back to the experience. So remember I told you the step 1, don't over-engineer, don't complicate that. The stories which you have created in the doc, just pick those stories and stick them in. Simple. Make it very simple. Don't spend too much time. Get past that because your effort has to go somewhere else. Okay? Yes? About section is the problem, the solution. For example, the challenges, which as an engineer, yes? Okay, now it's good? Yeah, sorry. About section is the problem. The problem is typically what kind of challenges do you solve in your job, typical job, right? The initiatives. Think about the initiatives, the why, right? And how do you build those solutions, right? And the data. It can be the results. The solution, again, can be the actions you have taken, your responsibility, right? And the data is your results. So put the facts there. This is the simplified way to just create, and you don't need to put everything there. Yes. Any more questions?
Sometimes happens that just like the tailoring of the resume, we have to tailor the about section before applying for a job.
Very good question. Let me flip it. So from the hiring manager side, like I said, tailoring the resume is required. Number 1, the most important decision maker for the hiring manager to get you into the interview is your resume. They don't have time to go and look at the LinkedIn profile. Okay? That's the reality. I'll give you another example. I was mentioning about 120, 125 resume, right? If I have to go back and look at each of their LinkedIn profile, it is not scalable. So I don't have time. And a lot of time, your LinkedIn profile can be a very extensive one, and it's fine. It's fine because LinkedIn profile is not a decision maker. The other thing is, LinkedIn profile is not for the hiring managers. Actually, it's for the recruiters. Recruiters spend more time. Yes, there are chances when the hiring managers themselves are on the look, but the ratio is pretty low, extremely low. Yes, please.
I've been trying to apply to the companies. Almost everyone is asking in their profile, the LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, that's fine. So you just create one LinkedIn profile. You don't need to. That's the point. You don't need to tailor your LinkedIn profile for every job. That's fine. The other thing is, just like resume, yes.
LinkedIn and the resume, like resume is probably only subset of what's there in LinkedIn. So if somebody is looking at it, if the person who is looking at my resume and then LinkedIn, if the person is not good enough, he may think that it's
That's fine.
not matching.
What you don't control, you don't control. Right?
But hiring
yes.
manager, once I shortlisted 5 resume, right? So hiring manager can go look at his 5 resume whom I am calling.
Yes. And that's what, see, I'm not telling you what I'm telling you is be authentic, that's number one. Be real, and create as much extensive, if you think, I'm not asking to make it an extensive LinkedIn profile, by the way, but a lot of time, professionals have so many things. I mean, I have worked for 20 years. Now, let me give you an example. I had to apply for a company, for the job. The clear requirement was 15 plus years of experience. That's it. Okay? Now, I have done quite a lot. I am not putting all of those positions in my resume. I'm putting the most important, probably last 15 years of positions, and that's it. It actually doesn't really make a difference. It doesn't change their decision. They might go and check it. Now, I have, just as part of the Nutanix, I can go and put probably 10 achievements on my Nutanix last role, but when I am applying for the job, there might be only 5 or 3 most relevant ones. Okay? I might have probably 10 achievements for the role I was like, 10 years back. At Minjar, I was director of solution engineering, solution architects, right? I have so many achievements there, but when I'm sending that resume, there are only 2 most relevant achievements because I'm going 10 years back. It's not relevant. So resume is a very, very specific one to help the hiring manager make the decision. LinkedIn can be a laundry list. It's fine. Does it make sense? Does it help? Yeah? Okay, cool. So, yeah. And, like I said, be very action-oriented. Don't keep thinking. My suggestion for this week is, go back, update your headline, put one story, an achievement of your current role, and start having meaningful connections or start engaging. I'll talk about that, engaging and networking and everything in the next section, but that's mostly it right now. Let's go to question 5. Your LinkedIn profile performance. Recruiters regularly reach out with relevant opportunities. Occasionally, recruiters reach out. Don't know if my LinkedIn profile is optimized. Don't get any recruiters' calls. Yes?
Basically, I'm really into the job search now. What I gathered so far is the probability that you get a call from the LinkedIn profile is more than directly applying to the jobs.
Sorry, is more what?
Is more the probability that you get a call from the LinkedIn profile is more than you apply for a job on their website.
Okay.
Of course, the best is to have a referral. The second best is to have LinkedIn profile best so that recruiters can create you.
Yes.
So basically, they are saying that this is a reasonable discussion.
Yeah. So if I were to summarize, what you're saying is best is to use the referral. If not, the second best impact is the LinkedIn profile so that recruiters can reach out to you, correct? Yes, you're right. You're right, absolutely. But the problem is, because there are so many professionals out there, getting that call from the recruiters is something you don't control. You don't control. So what you can do is you can just do your best on optimizing your LinkedIn profile and then move on. Because you don't want to wait for the recruiters to just call you. You want to focus on what you control. And that becomes your third option, which is applying, right? And it can be your first option as well, applying through the referral, right? So we'll talk about that. In the interest of time, question 5, let's move on. Let's get to the leveraging the network. I feel awkward reaching out to my network for the help. It's a very common problem. And a lot of time when people go and try to leverage their network, they go plain, very simple, they say, you know what, I'm looking for the job. Can you help me? Can you help me find the job? It doesn't work like that. What you want to do is very clear, actionable item. Whenever you're reaching out to anyone in your networks, first of all, you want to leverage your network. You do want to let people know that you are looking for the job. because if you won't tell people, you won't get any help. So you want to let people know. Let's be very clear. I was not comfortable with that. A lot of time, we don't even ask, or we get to know from the third person that, oh, you know what, this gentleman got laid off, or this individual, this person got laid off. We don't even go and talk about that. That's the problem. Unfortunately, that's a problem in our community, much more. But in other communities, it's not the case. People be vocal about that. So my strong recommendation here is be helpful. That's number one. If you think that somebody has got laid off, somebody is looking for the job, go and approach them, ask them gently that, are you looking for the job? I heard about that. How can I help you? Let's flip it, come back on the other side, but go and let people know in your network. Second thing is, it is your responsibility to follow up. Don't just think that you have informed an individual and don't just keep waiting. It is your responsibility to follow up, keep them updated that you are looking for the job. One gentleman reached out to me and he got to know, it's like, Makbul, you're looking for the job? I said, yeah, I'm looking for the job. He's like, okay, let's get on to this over the weekend. Let's go through my network, let's search and see if we can find something meaningful, some connection. I can connect you to those guys. I can provide you the reference. I said, fine, that's great. I don't think anyone came and told me like this. Super energetic. I said, fine. And then leaving that, he was like, but hold on, you know what? It is your responsibility to reach out to me. From here on, the moment I get out of this place, I don't have time. My attention span is too low. It is your responsibility to reach out to me. The point I'm trying to convey is, you cannot imagine how much people are willing to help. But you want to make the point. Second thing, be very specific with the ask. Don't just say, I need help, I need job, I need referral. No, if you think that there is an individual, he is or she is part of so-and-so company, and if you think there is an opportunity, go tell that person, there is this opportunity in your company. Can you help me with the referral? Very specific ask. Or you can make a specific ask is, what do you think I can optimize on my job search process? Now this is flipping the conversation. This is getting them involved into your job search. It is like, can you suggest me some improvements I can do? I have done this, still no results. What do you think I'm missing out? Now this is having a meaningful conversation. It is about getting them involved into that. That's how they will register that, oh, this gentleman or this person, this lady is struggling with the job. What other things have you done? These are the places you can, having that meaningful conversation is very important with your connections. So do that, and that is how you extend your network. The second option for those people who are fresh out of the college, what you can do is, or maybe this is good for the dream companies. The right approach here in terms of the networking is, step number one, get all of your connections on a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet. Okay? Be it any professional into whatever years of experience or whatever it is, right? If you don't have zero connections, that's fine. I'm sure we all are connected with the families, Masajid and everything. So create a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet, put the list down of the people whom you think can help you, or you think you can reach out to them for the help, okay? Find out where they're working, what is their role, what is their email address, what is their number. Just put that in the Google Sheet or Excel sheet, right? And then start reaching out to them. Now here, if you think there are target companies, and if you don't have your connections, the best approach to do is identify people at above your level, 1 or 2 level above your level, right? Go search them, about 5 to 10 people, send a LinkedIn connection, and this is mindful, don't blast it. Don't spam it. Be very intentful here. Don't spam it. Identify meaningful connections. Go send them request. Wait for it. See who is responding. when you receive the connection request, send a message to them saying, hey, you know what? This is my target company. This is what I have done. I would like to know how things work in the company, let's say in engineering and product management or whatever it is. Ask a meaningful question. What kind of practice are followed? What are the skill sets required? This company is a dream company for me. This is where I'm looking to get the next role. Ask meaningful question and then see who is responding. If you are able to get at least 2 connections, 2 people responding, that's a signal for you that they are ready to help you. And then pause. Don't add more connections for those companies. Don't spam it. Continue to maintain your relationship with them. Have conversation. As those people give you the advice and suggestions, your job is to go back and work on that and then provide the update to them, probably 1 week later, 2 weeks later. Tell them that you are making progress on that. This is a way to have meaningful connection. This is a way to have networking done. This is how networking works. You know the startup advisors, the way it works is, startup advisors to founders, it is not like, they just go and advise, but the founders are responsible to go and provide them updates. Even the mentors. Have your mentors. Find the mentors for you who can help you guide throughout your career journey. And keep providing them weekly or every 2 weeks updates so that they can trust you. They can see that you are working on something. They would find interest in your success. If you won't do that, if you go reach to one person, take the advice, 1 or 2 months, no updates, nothing, the person will think probably, okay, yeah, that's fine, maybe he got a job or she got a job. Done, over. But when you provide them the update, this is how you establish your connection. This is how you extend your relationship. So that's what is required. Question number 6. Your networking confidence level. You are comfortable reaching out and building professional relationships. Option B, I have connections but hesitate to reach out. I've been through that, by the way. Option C, I don't like reaching out to my network for the job. And option D, I feel I don't have enough connections. Okay, let's move on. Question number 7, your networking results. Regular referrals and leads from your network. That's option A. Option B, some helpful connections occasionally. Okay. Option C, I have too many junk connections. I have 2,000 connections, by the way. 2,000 plus, okay? When I started looking at that, I realized that the only meaningful connections were about just 100. That's the reality. And option D, I have reached out to many people, but not getting any leads or referrals. That's fine. Okay? So now identifying the opportunities. So how do you identify the opportunities? Okay? Research the top 20 companies you would like to work for and find the connections in those companies, like I said a few minutes back, right? And understand their challenges and try to get the updates as to what that company is doing. Okay, I think there is a lag on the projector. So yeah, going back, research, find the intelligence inside updates, and get to know what's the public updates, and then start targeting. Don't target all the jobs out there because you want to focus on the quality jobs. The whole idea is focusing on the quality jobs. Now, let me talk about the referral and the network part here. The way you can make it work is, I told you that create a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet, right? Go back to the Excel sheet, basically go back to your connections. The easiest way to find the target company list, you could have dream companies, but the easiest way to find the target company list is go back to your connection list and find out where these people are working for, which companies they are working for. Very simple answer, those companies becomes your target companies. Very simple answer. If those are your real connections, those people would be happy to refer you. If you think you are able to find out 50 companies from your connections, just 50 companies, or even 25, you are more than enough set. Just imagine the example I gave. If you are applying online 400 jobs, and based on the standard, industry standard, if you are getting 2 to 4% conversion rate, versus if you are applying to the jobs through the connection, let's say you just applied 40 jobs from your connection through the referral, your chances are very high. I'll tell you how does the referral works. As a hiring manager, I used to get the resume. You know, somebody would Slack me, somebody would email me, and it's like, Maqbul, are you hiring for this position? I said, yes, I'm still hiring. This is the individual, you know, he's my husband, she's my wife, or, you know, he's my friend working in this company, he's looking for the job. Can you please look into this? And the way I would do is, a lot of empathy, because that's how it works, the hiring managers pay more attention. It's like, okay, because there is an emotional connection came in. There is a human touch came in, right? I would open up resume, I would scan that resume, and I would say, yes, this is relevant, matches the skill, or it is not matching the skill. If the resume is not matching the skill, I would clearly say, you know what, there is a mismatch, there is a misfit, maybe next time. But if there is a match, it straight goes to the recruiter saying, get this person into the loop. Over. You are bypassing here the entire resume game. You are bypassing here the entire ATS system game. No more number games. This is exactly how it works. You know, when I talk to the leaders in the industry, they clearly say, Maqbul, without referral, it is not possible now. It is not possible now. Because everybody is trying to push for that. So focus on your building the network, get the connection list, identify the companies, and start applying there. Just imagine if you applied 40 jobs or 50 jobs, 20% conversion, you are getting 10 recruiter calls. Can you just imagine if you're getting 10 recruiter calls and you're getting into the loop? Trust me, every single loop you're going through, it's a learning, there is no failure. Even if they don't respond, they ghost you, they reject you, that's not a failure. It's a success or learning. And just tell me, just think about it. If you went through 10 or 5 interviews, I'm pretty sure on the 6th one, you are going to perform much better on the interview. Trust me. Trust me. This is how it works. The reason why people fear or people struggle with interviews is because as a professional, we are not used to it. Human being is more comfortable doing something which is more repeatable. So they are not comfortable. They're getting scared. It's like, oh, yeah, I won't be able to perform in the interview. Just forget about all of those. Just move on. Question. Your company targeting strategy, have a focused list of top companies, 15 to 20 companies, or option B, apply to companies that post relevant jobs, or option C, I don't know how to create target companies, or D, I apply to any company with the job openings. Okay. Question 9, your role clarity. Clear on exactly what roles I want. Generally know my direction. I don't know which role to choose. I've seen people move from product management to engineering, engineering management to product management, from management to IC, IC to management. just for the sake of getting the role. If you are getting rejections because of in the interview, don't make that as a reason for you to change the role. Don't make that as a reason for you to change the career. It is just that you need to continue to work on that. Please. I have so many stories around that, but maybe for later. Tailoring the resume. The simplest way is get 3 resumes done. Okay, the way to get the resume is, here's how it works. Go and find the 3 most relevant jobs for you. Look at those job descriptions and try to create one resume for that. If you think there is relevance to some different roles, then do that for other roles as well. Majority of the time, I have personally created this resume. This is not just advice, but I have personally created so many resumes. Majority of the time, 80% of the content remains the same. Let's be honest. Okay? The only thing which changes is your skill section or your top 3 achievements, but the rest of the things remain same. Very rare chance that you have to completely change it. And if you are changing that, that means that's a different role. So better create a resume. And that's how you can be efficient. By the way, I have prompt as well. If you guys need prompt, I can share the prompt as well. Reach out to me. That can make things easier. I would highly recommend using Claude if you want to do that. There is a way to do that, not the ChatGPT. Again, people have been efficient on ChatGPT as well. It's all the choice, but what worked for me was Claude. Okay? Yeah, sorry? Yeah, please. CLAUDE.ai or .com, sorry. I use that every day. I keep forgetting the URL. It's from Anthropic. Is this presentation available somewhere? I can share that. I'll work with Brother Jamal, and inshallah we'll share that. Yeah. And like I said, if you guys need prompt, let me know, and I can share that. I can probably, there are a few ways to use AI. I can share those things as well, inshallah.
I appreciate if you can send that prompts to.
Yeah, sure.
So we can ask Jamal to share it.
I think maybe just the prompt is fine, but the whole approach is very different. So anybody wants to use it, just reach, because I might need to probably create some sections. I don't have those ready, but I can do something, whatever I can do for the community, inshallah. Okay, let's move on. Question 10. We have last 3 questions left. Your application approach. Strategic, targeted application with referrals, customized application to relevant roles. I'm thinking of applying to different roles. I hired an agency to search and apply for the jobs. Question 11, resume tailoring reality. I can quickly customize the resume. I tailor when I have time. It takes about 1 to 2 hours for me to tailor the resume. That's option C. And D is it's frustrating to tailor the resume. Question number 12, getting interviews. That's about the application result. So where do you stand when you are applying? Where do you stand? You are getting about 15% of application or interviews selected. Some interviews, but fewer than hoped. I'm applying online, but only getting rejection emails. I have applied to hundreds of jobs, but no recruiter calls. And then the last one, what's your biggest job frustration? Getting past final interview rounds, not enough quality opportunities, applications disappearing into black holes, feeling completely stuck and overwhelmed. All done? Let's calculate your score. And here is where you are. You don't need to share, but just calculate your score very quickly and see where you are in this quadrant. If your score is below 20, you are good. You are ahead of the game, ahead of others. and probably your challenges might be optimizing your timing and efficiency, but continue to work on that. What you're doing is good. If you are between 21 to 35, you have good foundation, but something is missing. It's not working out. If you are in 36 to 50, you are just spinning the wheel. You're just trying randomly. And if you are above 51, there is a high risk. There is a, everything is broken. So you need to fix your process. All right? Cool. So that's the recap. Like I said, approaches. You want to make sure that you are going through the referral. You want to make sure that you are applying through the network. One thing I want to give, important one, when you are applying through the referral, the network, make sure when you apply, don't apply online directly. Wait for the referral to send you the link, and then only apply. If you apply online and then reach out to referral, you have lost the chance of the referral. Be very mindful. Reason being, there is an obligation for recruiter to respond to the referral, and that's how you can get to know what's happening. So please make sure you use the referral in a right way. And the whole idea is about the process which I have created is, it's a very lengthy 8 hours program. I run it, but it's about empowerment. You don't want to just blindly use AI. You want to make sure that you yourself are empowered. You have discovered yourself. You know your stories. You know your achievements. You are focusing on the quality versus the quantity. You are focusing on purposeful outreach. You are not spamming people. You are using the balanced AI. One more thing to tell you, when you are reaching out to the connections, don't create the messages through the AI. Do not use AI to create the messages to send to your connections. Be human, be real. They want to see the authenticity. All right, and that's the final view on the entire process which I have created. I have a program here if anyone wants to look into that. It's on maven.com. By the way, I run live training. I don't give videos. Obviously you can get the recordings, but I run live training so that people can learn. I take through the assignments so that they go through that in 4 weeks. They are on the road hitting the right approach and strategies.
In Bay Area, so there are a lot of individual courses, say $500 in this for Google, Meta, FAN company. So what that is that work is just how you
Yeah, see, my answer is very simple. To be honest, see, no one can get you the job. Let's keep it very simple. Even what I'm trying, my goal is to get you the right tools and empowerment. Finally, performing in the interview is your job. Let's be honest. No one can get you the job. Finally, you need to perform. People claim that you can be in FANG and get this much raise and all of that. I don't want to make any comments about that, but this is what I believe. Finally, it's your responsibility to perform. All right. If you want to connect with me, the easiest way is email address. You have the email address there as well. It's the same thing. QR code link is also the calendar link. But I want to quickly show you guys something which will be more beneficial, inshallah. So let me take you guys through. This is the product which I have built. It's in private beta. The whole idea is it's an AI companion for your entire career journey. My goal with this product is to help professionals transform from the doer's mindset to achiever's mindset. The way it is going to work is, you see here, this is a story. This is a story which is created. I'll try to zoom in. You see the story which is created? In private beta, it is in private beta, but every single user who is signing up will get their unique URL. It's going to be intentful.work of Maqbool Khan, intentful.work/of/Maqbool Khan. When somebody goes into that URL, for example, they'll see the real achievements, the real story of the professional. That's my goal. I want to uncover the real talent. Okay? The way it works is it has the AI companion, and you can go and put down your stories and achievements. It'll start asking you questions. What have you done? What was the problem? What was your responsibility? What was the task? What actions you took, right? That way you can create your entire career history, achievements, and stories. And with one click toggle, you choose which story can be public, which story can go private. Any story you make public, you can share anywhere. On the LinkedIn, it has its own page. Not just that, it will help you identify your skills as well. You see the skills here? These are just few examples of skills from the stories I created, right? Obviously, you can go and put your all certification. The whole idea is I'm going to share with you, but this is just an example of me, myself, building the product in 35 days using AI. I was detached from the code for many years. My coding skills were rusty, but I felt that this was a great achievement. So I used my product itself to create a great story out of that. And that's the story. Okay? Now, the next one is, my goal is to kill the whole idea about tailoring the resume. Don't worry about tailoring the resume. Focus on your strength. Focus on knowing who you are. Focus on your skills. Focus on your stories. Once that's there, I was just experimenting. We don't have time much, but I want to show you something. I took a job description from LinkedIn, and I pasted it here, and it gave me the fit analysis. How much fit am I for the VP role, VP of engineering? And it tells me this detailed analysis on the right-hand side. It tells me what are the skills match, what are the gaps, okay? And it gives me recommendation, how do I position myself? Now remember, there are tools which will force you, or give you suggestions to go and optimize for certain skills and everything. I'm not after that. My goal is to create the authentic resume, the real stories of you, okay? And that is why if it is a miss, it has to be the miss. I don't want it to be 100% match. Once you do that, you can, with one click, download the resume in the PDF format. Let me see if I have, that's the resume, came out of the product. Obviously, I've not added all the stories, but this is just an example. If anyone, yes, please.
So in general, there is a 100% match that thrown out is what you're saying, because they are mostly AI and the hiring managers don't spend time on it. Most of the time, is it, or is it hit or miss?
So what happens is, the question is, most of the time, AI is trying to give you 100% match. What happens is, even if the AI doesn't give you the 100% match, people look at some of the tools and they try to optimize to make it 100% fit. That's wrong. That's completely wrong. The skills, like it was showing me, I don't have marketing technology skills. Yes, I don't have. But that's mentioned in the job description. That's fine. I want to be real.
So using AI to make it 100% match is a red flag.
It's a red flag, obviously. Definitely.
Just because that's like more hooking up, so be authentic is what you're saying.
Be authentic. And that's my goal. My goal is, number one, I want professionals to move from doer's mindset to achiever's mindset. The story which was created here, right, is about the achievement, the result. In 35 days, I was able to build the product. I was able to give the product to 15 plus beta users. That's the result. Just think of it like this. I went and built a product just as a project because I would use AI, and I'm just feeling happy about it. What's the point? Yeah, maybe you can probably, doing that for your interview, but then what's the end result? If you are trying to apply for the job, the end result has to be you want to get the job, not just feel happy about it. That's the result. So my goal with this product is, inshallah, help people change that mindset, move from doer's mindset to achiever's mindset, and then create their real identity on the internet with all of these stories. So if you guys want to try it out, I'm open to that. Where is the? Here is the QR code as well. If you want to sign up for the private beta.
What was cover letter? Most of the cases they say just write some cover letter on review. Is
Yep.
it relevant?
I'll answer that. I'll answer that. The URL is very simple, by the way. The URL is intentful.work/signup. It's in private beta. You will not get access to the product directly. You send your sign-up request. It'll come to me, and I'll, inshallah, approve. In return, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the brutal feedback from you guys. So I would need your, few minutes on the call as to how is it working for you? Is it really solving the problem? What is working? What is not working? Okay. And coming back to the question, before we end, we are about to wrap up. We are getting to the Asr Salah. If you can please quickly share the feedback as well. It's a quick form. I would really appreciate to take time and give the feedback. I know I made you guys do quite a lot of work, but I think that helped to stay awake. So going back to your question on the cover letter, by the way, the cover letter option will also be supported, inshallah, in the product itself. With one click, you can get the product, the cover letter. The answer to the cover letters are, to be honest, not required. Cover letters are for the recruiters. As a hiring manager, I never bothered about looking at the cover letter. Reason being, I know what skills, what capabilities I am looking for from the individual. I am able to read the resume and I can make sense out of it. The cover letters are longer descriptions for the recruiters because recruiters don't understand the technicalities of the role. So majority of the time, the cover letters are used by the recruiters. My idea is with the resume generation, there will be an option of cover letter as well, inshallah.
Because recruiter first they took your resume, pass it to hiring manager. If recruiter don't understand, then your resume may not reach the.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
One question.
Yes, please.
What if you don't have a LinkedIn profile? Like, can you still find it?
Yeah, I think.
I never had LinkedIn profile like the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking because we don't know how the market will be like next.
So how much the LinkedIn profile is a deal breaker? The answer to this is basically any opportunity which you want to receive is really where it is going to impact. Meaning, if you want yourself to be discoverable, if you want recruiters and hiring managers to reach out to you directly, that's when LinkedIn profile is required. Okay? But that is something which is one-time activity. You get the LinkedIn profile done and forget about it. What is in your control is going and applying through the referral. That is something you control. That's your outreach. That's your outbound activity, which you want to consistently work on. And just so that you know, even for that one, Actually, in the product, I have a dashboard which will say how many jobs you have applied. You see here, it will capture the metrics as well, that how many jobs you have applied. But yeah, coming back to your questions, LinkedIn profile is required. That's my advice. Have it. You are not first. I have, I've been through this. I had another brother reached out to me and he was like, oh, I have never created my LinkedIn profile. I just ended up creating last year. But that's fine. It's okay.
Thank you. And you're saying like before, if you go look up for a job anywhere, find a referral first through LinkedIn and then apply. Is what you're
Yes.
saying.
We are approaching the time for the Asr. I'm here after Asr for a few more minutes. If you want to reach out to me, there is an email address you guys can see at the bottom. So you can reach out to me via email as well. If you need any help, we'll be happy to, or if you want me to review your resume, feel free to reach out. Happy to, provide as much help as possible. Jazakallah khair.
I think just for the benefit of the youngsters over here, even though I'm myself looking for a job nowadays, I won't be of that help. But they should be able to reach out to the people in the mosque openly, not to be shy about it, and ask, hey uncle, what do you do? Which company do you work for? And try to go look for the jobs in that place, and then propose them that if there is a job opening at Target, can you help me refer or something?
Yeah.
So make sure that you are bold enough and just reach out. Don't wait for it or don't be shy.
Yeah. I think that's very important. Reaching out to people is very